All right, good morning and afternoon, depending on where you are joining from. Just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Lisa. I am one of the co-founders of Real Estate Coaching Collective. So yeah, hopefully a lot of you, probably joined the virtual summit or you're part of our Facebook group. And so thanks for joining us today. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to use the chat button. I think everybody is muted for now. And that's on purpose so we can get through some of this content. But yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. I think our assistant is having some technical issues, so she's not able to join us, but I'll have to monitor the chat as well as make sure that I'm in the screen. So I think Meg, my assistant, is on here. So yeah, she'll be monitoring that and chiming in if you have any questions. So let's go ahead and get started. We have a lot to cover today. So obviously we're going to be talking about client events, how to use Follow Boss to manage a lot of those things. And so there's going to be a few different tools that you're going to need. You're going to need maybe a Google Forms. You're going to need Follow Boss, obviously. And then you should also have a Zapier account. You are going to need a paid one. So for $20 a month, which is the next level account, you can use that to do multiple steps inside Zapier. I'm going to actually give you the Zapier flow, the recipe, so you can copy that public link and add it directly to your Zapier. You may have to make a few changes like connecting your accounts to it versus mine. But yeah, we'll be able to walk through all of that together. So since we have a lot to cover, let's go ahead and get started. I'll give you 1 second. All right. I am in my Follow Boss account, and just let me know if you have any issues seeing the screen or anything like that. Just ping it in the chat and Meg will let me know. But hopefully everyone can see my screen and we'll kind of get started from here. So the first thing, we're going to break this up into 3 steps. The first part is you're going to want to send the invite, obviously. Second part is you're going to want to follow up with the invite. And number 3, you're going to do something post-event. So we're going to use Follow Boss to do all of these and kind of tie it together. So just to begin with, for your invite, you want to start organizing your people into smart lists. So whenever I'm ready to do a client invite, I'm looking for a few certain things, right? I segment by either using custom fields or I use tags inside of Follow Boss, right? So for this demo, we're just going to use tags just to make it super simple. That's what most people are used to doing. So I already have tags created, and these are the ones that I'm kind of using. Our demo today is we've got a beer with fur babies client event. So I'm going to invite my clients that are on my A list. I'm going to invite people who have dogs. I'm going to invite people who are past client, and I'm going to invite people who love to drink beer. Okay, so those are all my tags. I've already pre-created it just ahead of time just to save some time for us. But this is what I have for my smart list. So I won't go deep into how to create smart lists. That can be probably a whole other session in itself. But I already have one here created. Literally, I just went here and let's remove these tags, right? So if you want to start off from scratch, again, you want to have somebody who has dogs, right? Somebody who likes beer, somebody who's a past client, and somebody who I already have this tag, but I use like client events list A, right? Think of it almost like a wedding invite. That's how I like to do my client events. I could have maybe potentially 1,000 people, depending if you're a solo agent or you're on a team, you're going to want an X amount of invites, right? And so you don't want maybe one agent, right? Agent A to have like all the 1,000 invites, and maybe agent B was just a little bit slower and didn't get their invites in, and now you've maxed out, right? So I normally start with my agents. If we have more than like 2 people on the team, I'll say, okay, give me your invite tag, maybe like 50 people, like your top 50, right? And then agent B, invite your next top 50. So we have a pool of 100 people. This would be what I call like round A, my top choice of what I would want for my client list. Once I've sent out that RSVP, then I can do a round 2, which would be kind of be my list B, and then list C, D, you get the idea. So for simplicity, I've got 4 people already that are tagged that are on my list A, and I simply added that list in here and saved it as a client event list for 2025. I named it Beer with Fur Babies, right? So I've got my smart list there. I'm ready to go. Next thing I want to do is, after I've organized it, I want to create a Canva graphic, right? I've already had my virtual assistant do it for me to save some time. But let's say you go to Canva, you create whatever template you want to. I have it already here in my email template, so I'm going to show you what it looks like. But let's go to admin. Let's go to your email templates. I like to create a folder to designate that these are for my client events. So I just created a dummy one called demo for client events. I'm going to open it up. And here is the email I created for the actual invite, right? I named it the client event invite 2025 beers with fur babies, right? So here it is. I'm not going to go into, again, building emails, right, and adding graphics and stuff. That could be a completely different other session. But this is what my name of my invite is. This is what you're going to see when you get that subject line from me. And you can get a little bit more customized if you wanted to put, like, you know, like maybe their name. So let's say I put like their first name, you're invited, right? So I'd always say like Brad Pitt and Lisa Vo or something like that, you know, when you're invited to the 2025 Beers with Fur Babies. Here is where I like to put their first name. So if I'm going to use this inside of a batch email when I send it out. I'm going to show you what that looks like. But here is going to pull in both their names. So if it's like a spouses, or if it's like a father-daughter, right, that's in a contact in a relationship, it's going to pull in both of their names into the batch email. Here, I just had something very simple. Come bring your pets to the 2025 Beers with Fur Babies. I can't talk today. And then you can RSVP here. Right, we're going to get to the next part, which is actually creating the form for people to respond to. But again, my assistant just created this really fun one, a dog with a leprechaun hat. Come join us for a beer event, right? All I really did was just take that graphic. I downloaded it from Canva as a JPEG, right? Or a, you know, a photo image. Then I went here, I clicked this image and I found it, you know, this was a PNG, and I just inserted it into the email template. Again, nothing fancy, I just want the graphic to go out, and I want to insert somewhere in here how they're going to RSVP for this. So you have a couple options for this. I went with the Google Forms option, which is just very easy for anybody to really create. You could do this on your website, which is actually the better route to go. If you have like an Agent Fire website, if you have a WordPress, you have your Follow Boss Pixel, that will bring them to your site, right? One, it'll drive up SEO. Two, you'll be able to track that they actually went to your website. So that's a really good way to track how they're like responding and following things. And then if you have your form embedded on your website, even better, because when they RSVP, that will go back to the contact directly in Follow Boss. So a lot of these steps may be completely irrelevant depending on how you set up your form on your website. But anyways, I will go down the Google Forms route, which is probably the most basic entry-level way to get this up off the ground, right? So obviously I am missing a form here. So I want to go create a form. I'm going to flip over to my Google Forms. Again, for sake of time, I've already pre-created it, so I won't go into Google Forms, how to create it. But if you have Google Workspace, it's included, it's free. This is why I like to use it. I've already named it. This is a client event RSVP for 2025 Beers with Fur Babies. All I'm asking for is to collect their name, their email, their phone number. Are they attending? Yes or no? How many people are attending? And what is their favorite beer, right? So these are just small pieces of information. You can get as fancy with this as you like to. Since you're already inviting them to the client event, let's say you want to know how many children they have, right? You want to know like what their birthdays are. I would use this to actually start collecting some of your client information if you never have asked them in the past, or you're, you know, maybe it's been years and they, you know, you haven't kept up with their life events, right? This is a really good place to add those extra things in there and supercharge your client events for the future, right? So again, I'm not going to fill out this form. I've already done it. And I've just to save you time. So the most important thing to pay attention to is going to be this phone number. This is how I'm going to match this and find this later on with one of my contacts inside Follow Boss, right? So you have two options. I usually either match it with the email or I match it with the phone number. I would say the phone number is a little bit better and more unique. The reason being is like when I used to send this out to people, they would probably maybe in the database that my CRM, I have their work email. But when they RSVP, they're now using a new email, right? Or I have some like, women who get married and they change their email, right? To their husband and wife one, whatever. Sometimes those emails, like nowadays, my clients have like 10 different emails depending on what they want to give me. So I wouldn't even say emails are even unique anymore because we have so many of them out there. But phone numbers don't really change. So that one's going to be highly unlikely that they're going to update their number, but you might catch one or two that will. Anyways, I say that to digress. I say that so phone numbers are probably the best way to match up with your person inside Follow Boss and locate them. Okay. I already filled out one, right? So right here, I have test Brad Pitt. I matched it up to his email. I have a phone number. He said, yes, he's attending, only one person, and he likes to drink fat tires. Okay. That one's not so important, but I just want you to see that I actually filled one out. Okay. Next step, we're going to go into the fun stuff. So I know some people may get intimidated with Zapier and things like that. Don't be intimidated. Again, I'm going to share this link with you afterwards. You can literally copy the link. It's a public Zapier. You can just bring it straight into your Zapier account and leave it there and then make the edit yourself. So I've already done all the hard work for you. There may be just a few things you need to edit when you bring it in, but here's the Zapier flow and we're going to kind of walk through it. Okay. First thing is we want to grab that Google form. So if you haven't ever created a Zapier before, there is something called the Copilot that's in beta. I don't know why it's been beta because it's been sitting there for a long period of time, but I literally told it like, hey, I want to, let me see, I forgot where it was. I literally just told it, hey, when a Google form is filled out, search Follow Boss for matching phone number and add Follow Boss tags based on the Google form response, right? And literally just spits me out like the steps. So it just saves you a lot of time. So if you are getting into Zapier or want to use that Copilot as your AI friend, it literally would just build out the steps for you. Now, you're still going to need to know how to edit some of these steps. So we're going to walk through it together. First of all, I am grabbing my Google Forms response, right? This was the form that that I created, the client event one. So that's what I'm pulling. Then the trigger question, where do I want it to go and like match it up? So I just used phone number. Again, remember phone number is very unique. So when they filled out that Google form, that phone number is going to be really important for me to try to go and match it inside of my Follow Boss account. Next thing is so that's just a setup, right? You're just going to connect your Google Forms account. This is pulling from my Google Workspace. The event is when there's a new update to the form, a new response or an updated response. I'm going to pull from my account. It's going to pull from this form. It's going to search the phone number. And then here I've already done the test, but this is what it pulled in. So great, it found it. This is what I created. This is the ID of the form. This is the phone number. So everything Brad Pitt have filled out for me on my Google form is sitting right here, right? He has a fat tire and he says his favorite beer and then he's attending the event. Fantastic. Let's move on to number 2. Step number 2 is we're going to actually go look inside of Follow Boss to try to match it with my Google form, right? So here you're going to connect Follow Boss. Every time, the next thing I want it to do is find the contact, locate it in my account. I've already connected my Follow Boss account. And here's what I want it to do. I want it to find, this is the phone number. You'll see that this is a Google form. That's why it's in purple. Is looking for that phone number that's on my Google form. And if it matches, right, it's going to say that, yes, it's a match. So this one, it did find a match in my Follow Boss. It matches the phone number. If I flip over to test Brad Pitt, it matches the same phone number on the form. And so that is what we call a true statement. So it's going to make it through to the next step. Okay. So next step is now that it's found the contact, right? I wanted to add a tag. So again, same thing is going to go through Follow Boss. I'm going to tell it I wanted to add a tag to my contact. It's pulling from my Follow Boss account. Next thing I'm going to do is there is a Follow Boss ID. for every single person inside your Follow Boss account, if you look at the very top, this is your Follow Boss domain. And at the very end, this is going to be your ID number, right? It could be number 100, 1000, depends on how many like contacts you actually have in your Follow Boss account. Brad Pitt just happens to be number 2. He actually should be number 1, but actually Dan Corkle, if you ever open up a new Follow Boss account, is the number 1 contact because he's the first one added to your database. So he's contact number 2. So that's what I'm saying. Great. You found the contact. I want you to match it with the ID number 2, which is Brad Pitt. And then I want to automatically add a tag. So when this form comes in, I want you to find the contact. Once you found it, go and tag the contact with this. And this is where my tag comes in. So I wanted to pull this tag of client event RSVP. And for this one, since he said yes, it's going to show client event RSVP yes. And then it's going to be 2025 beers with fur babies. Now, had he responded no, then my tag would actually show up under his profile as client event RSVP no for 2025 beers with fur babies. So this kind of eliminates the need for anybody to look through those responses. I'm still going to get this notifications in my email that I got a form that was filled out, but literally it would just tag my Follow Boss tags with yes or no that they're attending the event. So let's flip over and see what happens in Follow Boss. So I already ran this test earlier, right? And I've got a bunch of tags because again, he's my demo account. But right here, you can see because once he filled out this form, this tag was automatically added to my Follow Boss. Nobody has to go in there and manually tag it. It's just going to show up. Again, he said yes. So that's why it's saying client event RSVP yes. Had he said no, it would say client event RSVP no. Remember this one because this one's going to be super important for us when we're tracking, which is step number 2, what our RSVPs are for the client event. Okay. I'll go back to Follow Boss. To Zapier one more time. And you do not have to do this step, but I actually like this step. It was actually suggested by Zapier. So thank you, Zapier AI, for that. But now I want it to create a note, right? If I'm like looking at the historical things that are happening to Brad Pitt. So here I'm telling it, go back to Follow Boss, create a note for me, pull my Follow Boss account. And then this is what I want it to do. Again, you have to match it up with the ID and you can just click this little plus button. Here is where they found the contact, and this is where you can pull that ID number, okay? And this is a message I wanted to post in my Follow Boss note. I wanted to say, whoever the client is that RSVP, so on my Google form, it said test Brad Pitt. This could be, if I had filled it out as Lisa Vo, it would show Lisa Vo responded to client event invite for 2025 beers with fur babies. So that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to post a note. And as you can see, about 2 hours ago, test Brad Pitt responded to the client event 2025 beers with fur babies. So if you're looking at this at just at a historical level, you can see the tag was added. You can see the historical timeline of what has happened inside Zapier with their client events. So this is just a good way for me to track if I'm looking at Brad Pitt, how many times did he RSVP? And just in case somebody decides to delete my tag, I will have that history sitting there in my notes section. Okay. All right. So that was kind of like the hardest part, right? Again, I promise I will send you this link and I will share. Yeah, I'll share this with you. I do have the link for it already. So Meg will send out the homework and post this on the Facebook group as well as the links. We are trying something new. I have kind of like a build done for you, kind of like recipe card where you can swipe and steal. What are the tools that you need? What are the steps to get this done? So you'll be able to download that like once we have that up and ready and post it on the Facebook group. So make sure you join the Facebook group for the posting of this video afterwards. Okay. So we've done the Zapier, we've done all of that. Now, remember I had this form, right? I'm going to grab this link, which is where I want people to RSVP to my form. Remember, we had created that email template to start inviting people, right? So here's my invite, right? And I'm just going to hover over that word here. I'm going to use this little hyperlink and insert the link to my form, right? Fantastic. So this is literally my invite built for you in just a few minutes, right? Well, Probably might take you a little bit more depending on your skills with Canva and stuff like that. But that is your whole invite. So that is step number 1. I'm going to move on to step number 2, but if you have any questions, let me know and I'll answer those at the end. Okay. So next will be your follow-up, right? We're going to create a tag so you can follow up with your people. Again, going back here to your invite list, I'm going to go to the filter. I'm going to go to the tags here, right? And I'm going to say, I want to exclude anybody who it's already RSVP, right? If they already RSVP, yes, I don't want to follow up with them, right? I want to make sure that I call the people who haven't RSVP'd. So as you can see, Brad Pitt dropped from this list. This is now the 3 people who have not RSVP'd yet, right? They're on my invite list. And so these are the people I'm going to call and text and email. You can build an action plan. You can send it out to them. You know, if the tag doesn't exist, start this action plan and kickstart it and things like that. But literally, I usually just have my agents call through like, hey, Bria has an RSVP. Can you call them? Right. So we're doing this maybe about 4 weeks before the event. Obviously, we start planning like 3 months before. We do the venue, we book the date and time, we have everything ready to go. 4 weeks out is when I usually start sending out the invite. Then week 2, right? So 3 weeks before the event, I will have my agents call, look at their smart list, give them a text, give them a call, right? It's a chance for you to interact with your clients. Week 3, we'll do another call list for who haven't RSVP until we get all the way down. It's never going to be perfect. There are still some people who will just ignore you, not look at your emails, not look at your texts or calls. And that's okay. As long as you get like some people to turn out to your event, then that's all right. Right. So those are things that you're going to do for the smart list to keep up with them by using this tag system. If there's no RSVP, then we want to, you know, call the people who are left on this list. Okay. Next is, let me see, a couple different things for you to prepare for the event. So usually about like 3 days before the event, we will send out an email reminder. Actually, I skipped a whole step. I skipped actually sending out the whole email. So let's backtrack. You're going to want to batch email this out, right? So you'll want to select everyone on your invite list, hit this little email called batch email, right? You can pick what email you want it to come from. I'm going to use the template. Remember, we had that client invite, right? This is an invite that's going to be sent out to everybody. And these are, you know, and I want to make sure I include all the email addresses. This one's the one that most people usually forget to click. And so if you have relationships, they're going to be left off of the email invite. Make sure you click that so that they're included. Okay. If I wanted to preview the email, highly recommend you do. You have to anyways, since that's the next step. But it'll tell you, hey, test Bria, right? Great. That's fantastic. This is the email it's supposed to be going out to. And then same thing with test Derek, right? It's going to go out to Bria and Derek and a couple other people. So you can just basically see how it's going to look like when it goes out. You can go back and edit or actually hit the send out to all 4 people. You can also schedule this to go out tomorrow morning. So let's say you're just up at like 10 p.m. You forgot last minute you're sending out this invite and you don't want it to go out at 10 p.m. You can schedule it to go out to the next morning at 8 a.m. So that's the batch email. So sorry, I skipped that one. So let's go back. Let's say it's 3 days before the event. You want to keep track of all these people, right? And somehow you want to make sure like you just have access to everybody who RSVP'd. So let's go back here. I'm going to, again, change my tag to include anybody who RSVP'd. Yes. So I only have one person, right? It's not going to be a very long list, but I can select everybody on that list. I can export it and download it. It's going to give you a CSV file, which is just like a, you know, a way that you can see everything almost like a Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheet. You can drop this into your Google Workspace so that you can use that Google Sheet to, you know, basically keep track of whoever's coming to the event. So I usually like to do this. I just drop it into my Google Drive. Here's my client event list. There's only one person. But if I open this up with Google Sheets, I can now manipulate this information. So a few things. I can print this sheet, have it with me ready as an admin, as an ops person, right? There's a lot of information in here. But let's say I wanted to add it. I wanted to add a column for attended, right? And here I can just check mark either if I'm printing it out, I can just check mark it and cross their list off whenever I see them at the event. Or I could have this on my phone, especially since Google Drive and Google Sheets is mobile. You can just do this on your phone. Oh yeah, I saw Brad Pitt. I don't need to have them physically check in, right? This is what I usually do with my agents. If you see your people, right, mark them off on the Google Sheet, right, so that we all know that they attended. This is also really important because whenever we're done with the event, we go back to our Google Sheet and we actually tag them that they attended. So here's where I would go, client event attended, and then I would do this for 2025, beers with fur babies. Right, I'm gonna add that. And then that way I can now keep track that 1, he RSVP'd yes, 2, he attended the event, and yeah. And you could also even have, I would highly recommend that you have one that's like client event invite, and that would be the 2025 beers with fur babies. So you're tracking like who got invited, who RSVP'd yes or no, and then who also attended. You'll want all 3 pieces of information, because at the end of the day, once I go through this, after the event, we're going to take pictures. We're going to load it up to our Google Drive, right? We use that to collaborate. So all my agents all upload the videos and photos there. Then I usually want to share that to our Facebook group, because I'm forcing everybody back to my Facebook group, or you could put this on your agent fire site or whatever website you have, especially for the pixel tracking. You want them to go back somewhere so you're tracking this. But again, if you don't have any of those fancy websites and stuff like I don't, you can just send them to the Facebook group so you can see them interact. So let's say I want the tag. Remember, we had the client event attended. Only Brad Pitt attended this event. No problem. It's just me and him. But here I can, again, send another email out. So I've already pre-created it for you. I'll show you what it looks like. But instead of using the invite, I now have an email for a post event. So this one basically says, thank you for attending Beers with Fur Babies event. And hi, Brad Pitt, we're glad you were able to attend. Thank you for trusting us, your real estate advisor. Photos are going to be posted here. Again, I just clicked on this, went to the website. This is right now going to our Facebook page. And then I'm telling them to go in and tag yourself, right? So this serves a couple of purposes for us. We want them to increase their social media because we can reach out very easily to them. And then also we can retarget and do a bunch of things for them with them as well. So I like sending them to the Facebook group to post and tag themselves, right? That way they can also outreach to their sphere of influence and they can see other people tag them and stuff like that. Anyways, don't forget to include all email addresses. We were sending this out to the spouses and relationships if you have that. And then I'm telling them we hope to see you at the next client event. So a couple of things you can do here. You can add maybe another form that says, hey, if you want to be included on our future events list, fill out this form. Same process, create a Google form, create a Zapier for that, collect the information, right? Add the tag to Follow Boss so you can keep track of that. Other thing is, let me see, you can, I don't know, again, send them to your website. You can have a raffle like, hey, whoever responds back to this email will be raffled for like a $50 Starbucks gift card. You can do like a bunch of different things with it. It doesn't just have to be the event. Expand it. Make sure you grow your outreach for this. They'll be super fans of yours if you do this. We try to do this about twice a year. So one is usually like a local restaurant, brewery, or something like that. The second event, we usually do like photos with Santa. Sometimes we'll do this in like October or something. So then we can get those photos printed, mailed out to them, right? Because on their form, they have to put their mailing address. So I'm collecting new addresses from them, and I can go and scrub my database to see if they've moved or if they have like a new address and kind of research and kind of be creepy that way and dig through what happened. But yeah, I'll usually like send out like photos, like so they could use it as postcards. Like I'll send 10 per family. That way they can get ready for December and send that out. And then I'll usually have like my, logo on it so they know that I printed it out for them. So that is a lot, but that is everything using batch emails, using Follow Boss. Really, the only thing with this is just making sure you have a Google Workspace account, a paid one, obviously a paid Follow Boss account. And then number 3, that paid Zapier account. So like I said, that middle tier plan, the next tier up from free, is really the only one you need for about $20 a month. Now, depending on how many of these that you're sending out, like how many zaps you're doing, right? You have like about 750 zaps that you're sending out. So if you're sending like 10,000 invites a day, just know that your Zapier bill will probably go up depending on how many like invites you're sending out. But that is a high level overview of how you can manage your client events in here. There's a ton of other different things you can possibly do. I've tried Evites, I've tried Eventbrite and things like that. And so that works really well as well. Other tips and tricks I can probably give you is if you want a QR code, right? Like let's say you're just you want to put that like on your business card or hand it out to people, or if you're doing Popeyes and like it's Girl Scout cookies time for us right now. So sometimes on my Girl Scout cookies, I'll put it in like a cellophane bag, and then I'll have like a printed like card that I just buy from like Walmart or something, like the Avery labels, and I'll put a QR code on there. Client event coming up, scan here for more details. They'll scan the QR code. It'll take them straight to my Google form so they can RSVP, right? So I bypass all of this, and it's the same process. They're going to RSVP there. It's going to go back to my Follow Boss. I'm going to look at my smart list every single day, call them who has an RSVP, and I'm going to use the batch email system to invite them and also to send a post invite. Now, also you can build an action plan in between, right? Like let's say you want to, leading up to the event, remind them. So usually we have, 2 weeks before the event, 1 week before the event, 3 days before the event, day before the event, right? Because you don't know how many people that sometimes they RSVP so far and long ago, like they don't even remember what they did yesterday. So they completely forget about your event. You want to have those touch points with them. And so like we'll get usually last minute people like, oh, I'm so sorry, I RSVP and I forgot, like I have something else going on, right? So you'll be able to catch those things with those action plan reminders as well. So just build that out in Follow Boss, put that along with your client event plan, and hopefully you'll have very successful events moving forward. All right, so let's look in the chat to see if there's any questions.
Yeah, we have one, Lisa.
Great. Shout out to Trisha. Good to see you on here. And Vanessa, how do you make sure the unsubscribe button is in the body of the email? When you send out the batch email, it's just at the bottom already. Like you don't have to add it in yourself. So that's just a default of Follow Boss with batch emails. Almost like your MailChimp or your SendGrid, that's already pre-built in. Awesome. And I'll wait maybe a couple more minutes to see if there's any other questions. I'm a little bit over time. You're welcome. I think it's Kemi. I hope I said that right. Awesome. Well, fantastic. Looks like there's not any more questions. If you do, you know how to get a hold of us. We are on myrecc.com as well as our Facebook group. We have these weekly live sessions every single week. What is the link for our Facebook? Oh, let me grab it real quick for you. But there we go. Feel free to join that one. Nina, you are so welcome. Yeah, we have a lot of cool things coming up. Like I said, we'll have all the homework. We'll have the recipe card kind of posted for you after this so you can swipe and steal it. You know how to get a hold of us, and we will hopefully see you soon. We are going to have an email go out with the recording as well as a survey question. So if you have future ideas of what you would like to see, these are more like technical builds, and we love doing it in person. So if you have anything that you want to suggest for us for future things that you want to learn how to build, how to do inside Follow Boss, or any other tool, to be honest, for real estate, just let us know. We'll find somebody who is an expert at it and we'll get that over to y'all. Okay. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.